Which, by the way, not the power dynamics part, but if you want to have sex with multiple people, you want to be polyamorous, you want to enjoy the pleasures of the secular flesh, fuck yeah, go forth and do it. Sex is fucking bomb. It's amazing. It's so much fun. All kinds. I mean, there's so many variations by this point. We live in a wonderful world. But don't do this. You know, don't fucking do this shit. Talk a little bit about my favorite topic. Comedy. We're gonna talk a little bit about comedy. Good old comedy. Y'all love to laugh, right? You enjoy laughing. Everyone here likes to have a chuckle every now and then, I assume. You enjoy the pleasure of air leaving your lungs while you fill your mind with hilarity. Yeah. It's gonna be a fun topic. How could this go wrong? What could possibly go wrong if I'm talking about comedy? Comedy is such a wonderful topic. Everyone has a great old time. Pull this up, and I'm gonna talk about this individual. Not someone I brought up on the show before. Not someone we've spoken about before. Probably because I'm not completely familiar with this canon. I don't watch Chris D'Elia. I don't watch him because I believe I saw a roast once where a Justin Bieber, a popular Canadian musical artiste, was saying that this happens to be his favorite stand-up comedian, and at the time I was like, well, that's enough for me. Cancelled. But I did see the Instagram post in which he impersonates Eminem, and I thought it was funny. Thought it was a good impersonation. Thought it was a funny moment. And that's been the extent of my Chris D'Elia encounters. I haven't done much more. Now, I adore stand-up comedy. I always have. I think I always will. My favorite probably is Dave Chappelle. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, didn't he have a terrible transphobic arc? And you are right, and it did, and it broke my heart. But I'm just saying, back in the day, that was probably my favorite. I also love Mitch Hedberg. Of course, George Carlin. Everyone does, you know. These are some of the visionaries who inspired me through my time. And it was an unusual thing to hear the story of Chris. One of the reasons I bring it up is because it involves a lot of different factors. It involves the relationship that creators have with their fans, the parasocial relationship that they create and craft, something that streamers are quite familiar with, seeing as how it seems like every major Twitch streamer, for one reason or another, just has a problem with trying to sleep with their fans, or reaching out to people they know in Discords and trying to have sex with them, or starting not safe for work sections in their Discords and filling them with pornographies, and then being utterly baffled when a whole bunch of people who are sharing nude photos of themselves communicate with them and try to reach out to them. And it's a problem that keeps happening. It's a weird one, but it seems like other categories kind of got a pass on this. Namely, big ones have to be rock and roll. Because, man, I can't seem to find a single artist from the past that I fucking loved that hasn't done something super shitty or weird or strange or just always shitty. Just so fucking, why always shitty? Why are you fucking up all the time? And comedy. Comedy would be the other one. Comedy, for the most part, I mean, there's a couple people who have been successfully Me Too'd, and there's obviously the monstrously huge example of Mr. Bill Cosby, who's kind of, I guess, become the figurehead of this. But then there's just, is it wrong for fans to sleep with their idols, so to speak? Which is the story of Chris, I guess the one we're going to talk about. Yeah. Chris D'Elia. Well, we'll see. I guess that is how it's spelled, because it's spelled right there. Let's listen to the confession.
Hi, everyone. I know that it's been a really long time since you've heard from me, and when the news broke, I put out a statement that said everything I've done has been legal and consensual, and that's true. And I wanted that statement to speak for itself. And I wanted to talk immediately. I wanted to post online. I wanted to do my podcast, business as usual. But I thought that might not be the best thing. What might be the best thing it would be if I just take this time to be with my family, try and take a long, hard look at myself, and just and do that. And it was a lot. It was hard. I first of all, I do know how it looks with all the stuff that's been said and the the emails that have been put out there and what the media has been trying to say. And I know it looks bad, and it doesn't show the full scope of what happened.
Okay, I need to familiarize myself a little bit with what exactly happened. After Twitter outcry, 5 women detailed Chris D'Elia's alleged sexual improprieties. One morning in the fall of her senior year of high school, Julia Holtzman awoke to find that Chris D'Elia had sent her a direct message on Instagram. The 17-year-old was confused. She was not a fan of the then 36-year-old stand-up comic and was not following his page, but she saw that D'Elia, am I pronouncing this correctly? D'Elia? Chris D'Elia? Had a verified social media account and was intrigued. So she responded to him, asking how he'd found her. Just came across. Is that bad? He said in the November 2016 exchange. It was clear I was in high school. I had 16th birthday pictures and photos of me at football games on my Instagram. Holtzman, now 20, told the Times. I told my guy friends about it and they were like, he's famous. You have to answer. Delia proceeded to give Holtzman a phone number, which public records linked to his name and suggest that she travel from Long Island to New York to come see him. She never went, but saved screenshots of the correspondence for years. This week, she shared them publicly for the first time on Twitter, where multiple young women have come forward in recent days to allege that Delia was sexually inappropriate with them. Jesus Christ, dude. The avalanche of screenshots, many have revealed the same phone number and email address for Delia, began flooding Twitter on Tuesday night. Simone Rossi, another high school student, well, he's got a type. He's got a tape. Delia. Oh, that sounds right. Okay, so I was doing it okay. Well, it doesn't matter because fuck this motherfucker. I don't think I need to show him the respect of correctly pronouncing his last name. The avalanche of screenshots, many of which revealed the same phone number and email address from Delia, began flooding Twitter on Tuesday night. Simone Rossi, another high school student who said he had a virtual relationship with Delia, was the first to share how he allegedly asked her to make out and send him pictures of herself when she was underage. Within hours, Rossi's story began to trend on social media. Michael Oakland, who runs the popular Twitter account She Rates Dogs, said she received hundreds of messages from women with stories about Delia. Wow, hundreds. Some who claimed they'd have negative encounters with him, some who knew other women who allegedly had. Oakland shared many of these stories, most of which were anonymous in a thread that went viral. By Wednesday, the claims had proliferated to such an extent that Delia, 40, whose latest stand-up special, No Pain, debuted on Netflix in April, issued a statement to TMZ. In it, he said he never knowingly pursued any underage women, and that all of his relationships have been both legal and consensual. That being said, I'm really truly sorry, the 40-year-old continued. I was a dumb guy who absolutely let myself get caught up in the lifestyle. The lifestyle. In an interview with The Times, Holtzman said 4 other women told stories of aggressive, sexually charged overtures initiated by Delia, many who know his young fans as Justin Bieber's favorite comedian. I was right. Even back then, a lot of y'all are probably like, Lance, why would you ever make that kind of a harsh judgment? But I was right to make it. I knew it from the start. And had 2.4 million Instagram followers, all of them... All of the women, 2 of whom were not yet 18 in their communications with him began, describe a flirtatious demeanor that escalated almost instantaneously. In one case, he allegedly invited 2 female fans to his hotel room, where he exposed his erect penis to them in an attempt to convince them to sleep with him. In another, he allegedly told the 19-year-old that he would meet up with her only after she performed oral sex on one of his friends. Cool, bro. Delia declined to be interviewed for the article. A legal representative, Andrew Beatley of Lavenline Singer, directed the Times to the comedian's Wednesday statement. Rossi said Delia's statement earlier this week and found it disappointing and misleading. She said she'd recently begun to reflect on her teenage encounters with the comic after seeing him on the 2nd season of Netflix show You, which was released in 2019. On the program, Delia plays a stand-up comedian, whoa, what a reach, who grooms underage women, wow, what a reach, then drugs and sexually assaults them. The role marked the 2nd time he'd been cast in such a part. In 2018, on the Comedy Central program Workaholics, he guest starred as a child molester. Okay. Like, they should not be at all connected, all right? Just because he stars in these roles, or has starred twice in these roles, it doesn't imply that that's what he is. Like, they're acting, all right? It just means that if this is in fact the case, then he didn't have to do a full, my left foot. Like, he wasn't going method with this one, I guess. I really couldn't believe they cast him as a pedophile, said Rossi. For me, it was like, why are these shows casting him as this person? Sarah Gamble, the showrunner for You, declined to comment for the article, as did the production company, Warner Horizon Television, and Netflix. Wow. We don't want to touch this one, all right? Come on. Kyle Nowinchek, one of the creators of Workaholics, who wrote the How to Friend a Predator episode in which Delia appeared, did not respond to a request for comment, but a spokesman for Comedy Central said the episode had been pulled off all platforms. The series is available on Hulu and Amazon. His 2013 special, White Male, Black Comic, is no longer available. white male black comic. Oh, wow. I was excited when he first started messaging me. Rossi, now 22, recalled, I was obsessed with celebrities and wanted to be one on E! News. I wanted to brag about it to my friends, but it took me years to understand that it was predatory. Wow. All right. Well, just Jesus Christ, just goes on and on. She very casually told me that Chris Daly asked her for nudes. I was disgusted. I was incredibly proud of how she handled him, and I'm proud of her years later for sharing her story. If this had to happen, she's on the right side of the fence trying to pull women like her up and be a Sherpa. I said immediately block him. You're not going to the city. This is creepy. As a parent, you have to intervene. It was automatically sent up red flags while the parents are involved. I was like, he's an old guy. What does he want with you? It was extremely inappropriate. She was still in high school. I guess that didn't stop him. In the comedy world, some high-profile performers made allusions to Dahlia's popularity with underage followers. On their podcast, The King and the Sting, Theo Von and Brendan Schaub joked about Chris Dahlia's cult of female fans. That ain't gonna end well, they said in 2019. With everyone drinking Kool-Aid except Chris. Well, a lot of people are going to be drinking Kool-Aid. Okay, well, this is just one article. The Los Angeles Times could be biased. Let's pull up more. Got a few queued up here. Comedian Chris D'Elia sued for allegedly soliciting explicit photos from a 19-year-old girl. Oh, he's involved in a lawsuit now. According to the complaint filed in Los Angeles on Tuesday, D'Elia sought and received more than 100 explicit images. 100 explicit images from underage girls. The filing also said Star asked the girl to come to a show, have sex with her, and during the encounter asked her age. During the encounter asked her age. Pretty sure you knew what it was. Okay, so all this being said, monstrous creep. Chris Daly accused of possessing child pornography and sexual exploitation suit. Oh God, gets better and better. Chris Daly accused of exposing himself. Yeah, okay. This video though, this is February 19th. So this is like, I guess this is the first time he's coming out since all this is happening to make a public statement, of which 123,000 upvotes, only 8.7 thousand downvotes. And this one's called It's Been a While. Already received 1.5 million views from his over 500,000 subscribers.
Stand by the fact that all my relationships have been consensual and legal, and that's just it. That's the truth. I threw this kind of time away. I've seeked out a lot of kind of medical advice, therapy, and stuff like that. That doesn't matter here nor there. But what I have come to understand is this was always about sex to me. My life
gross
was, sex, it controlled my life. It was the focus. It was my focus. All the time. And I had a problem. And I do have a problem. It's not like you months down the line, you just kind of, everything's better.
Yeah, so yeah, he's going down the sex addiction route, which, by the way, I say gross because he's being accused of hundreds of solicited images from minors, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds. Yeah, that's super fucked up. This whole thing is super fucked up. And then to play the whole thing off is like, I am just very sexual in nature. I'm addicted to sex. I was just put in a position of power for the first time, and because of that, the human brain cannot comprehend what it's like to have, thousands and thousands of fans want to sleep with you, and that's what was wrong. The thing that was wrong was the fact that I just wanted to have sex with lots of people. Which, by the way, not the power dynamics part, but if you want to have sex with multiple people, you want to be polyamorous, you want to enjoy the pleasures of the secular flesh, fuck yeah. Go forth and do it. Sex is fucking bomb. It's amazing. It's so much fun. All kinds. There's so many variations by this point. We live in a wonderful world. But don't do this. Don't fucking do this shit. Like, this is fucked up.
When I first started doing stand-up and I started getting a little bit of notoriety in my early 30s, having sex got a lot easier, is the, for the lack of better words. And I felt lucky. I felt like, oh, wow, I don't need to work as hard. I can just do a show and then have sex, or roll into a city and look at my inbox and then just start writing.
See which members of the local high school had responded. And then at which point I'd be like, all right, well, it's It's just so easy. I don't quite understand what it used to be like before this.
And I did, man. I wrote. I mean, I know you've seen some of the messages online. I mean, there's way more than that. I would get at least 50 messages after a show each city a night, and I would reply to all of them. And I thought in my mind that being straight up with these women was the right thing to do. I'd say, hey, come to my hotel room and let's have sex. Let's make out.
They're not women in some cases. These are 16-year-old teenagers. They're in fucking high school. Their parents had to stop them from going to see you because you were enticing them to go see you so you could have sex with them, with kids. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Let's do this, let's do that. And that was what I thought was right. I realized through all of this that doing that is just treating sex like it's casual and being flippant with people. And that's not the guy I want to be. It's not okay, and I'm sorry for that. It makes me feel shameful, and it makes me feel bad. You know, people talk a lot about the power dynamic and about, well, why should someone who is a fan of yours have to worry about if you want to sleep with them or not? And I don't know where I fall on that. You know, I sometimes think.
I think you do. I think you know. Holy
especially
shit.
in my early 30s, I would be like, well, the girl has the power because that's, you know, I want to have sex with them, and if they want to have sex with me, then great. But what I can say is the familiarity. I would use the familiarity that I had with these women to have sex. I was like, oh, they already use me. They already know me. I didn't have to do the extra work. And I was talking to one of my friends about this and about the power dynamic and about the familiarity and not having to use that. And I said, why is that behavior not okay? Why is it not okay to sleep with somebody if it's consensual and they want to sleep with you? And he said, it's okay. Well, it is okay. It's okay until it's not. And that was when, you know.
Okay. I thought he was building up to, I spoke to a friend and I've come to realize that, yes, there is a power imbalance here. There's a definite power imbalance, you know? I mean, there's a parasocial relationship formed between me and my fans. They know who I am. And I was taking advantage of that relationship because, yes, they already liked me. It's me thinking that I didn't have to do any, quote, work to get laid anymore. And that normally it was a women's decision. So in essence, they were taking advantage of me. All right. That's what this is really about. They took advantage of me. And I would like an apology from all the underage women who I contacted immediately. But anyways, after speaking to a friend, I've come to realize the error of my ways, and this was just the wrong way to go about life, and that I was truly doing something monstrous. It's none of that. It like all he's doing is standing here and he's just like, well, it's good until it isn't. And now it isn't. But don't worry. I'm seeing a therapist. Gonna be key. What do I got to do to get the next Netflix special? You know, the monies. Wouldn't mind touring again. That'd be. Oh yeah, the pandemic. That fucking sucks. Well, hey, what about a Netflix show? Just anything Netflix. Let's start the process.
Like, a lot of it.
Shit, 123,000 likes. This is wild. This is gonna turn into some whole like why are we vilifying him at the end of the day? Come on. He's very upfront and honest about this. He was having consensual sex with a whole bunch of his fans, and he realizes that he was cheating on his partners, and that's what was wrong. And at the end of the day, he's gonna stop doing that because again, the therapy will change this.
It was something that just became life controlling. I mean, I would think about it all the time. I would go and I would do my show, and I, like I just said earlier, and it was too much, and it became a lifestyle that I didn't know how to stop. I didn't even think I had a problem. I thought that this was how it was. I thought that guys in my position were lucky enough and fortunate enough, and it was going out of control. And I never stopped it. I cheated on most of the girls that I've been with. I cheated on my fiance now. And this is my dream girl. This is the girl that I want to be with for the rest of my life. And even that wouldn't stop what I was doing. And I was...
The only problem is that she ages. I mean, that's the only disadvantage that she has.
Headed for a... I was headed for... You know what I was headed for? I was headed for this. And this needed to happen because I wouldn't have stopped cheating. I wouldn't have stopped using sex. I wouldn't have stopped. So I have a chance here to really, and I have been doing the work and being somebody who is a role model for my son. And I want to do that, and I can't stress that enough. I can't go back, and I can't fix that part of me, that hole in me that was trying to be filled with that. The loneliness on the road, or the fear that I felt, or the insecurity that I would try to chase and just conquer with this. With sex, and it was out of control. So I have a chance here to apologize to the people who got caught up in that shit, and the lies that I would tell my fiance, my friends, and I'm sorry. I think that being a comedian, it's funny, the stuff that you tell yourself to make everything okay,
I guess because we've seen a couple of these in the last month, it seems like this is a whole, the penance routine, right? You got to get on the camera, you got to cry, or at least feign to cry at some point. You got to ultimately make it about yourself, though. That's who's the real victim here? I think it's Chris. I mean, he had craved the sex so much. He had a hole, a void he had to fill. He was on the road for long periods of time. That gets very, very lonely. He was contacting high schoolers in order to be able to fill that loneliness and meet up with them, so he'd have friends to hang out with, friends that had similar interests. At the end of the day, he is Justin Bieber's favorite stand-up comedian, so he can relate to the Zoomers. He knows what they're all about. Or actually, they'd be younger than Zoomers, wouldn't they? What's the next generation going to be called? Is there a post-Zoomer generation? Because that's, I guess, his target demographic. So there's that. I guess we're out of letters, though. Alpha? Gen Alpha? I guess, yeah, it cycles back, right? It cycles to the start. Is it Generation A? Gen A? The Alphas. Well, the alpha males are back.
Like the cheating and the sex every night or whatever. Well, any guy would do this, which is not true, or whatever it is. And I just, I don't know. It was too much, and I made too many excuses, and I can't do it anymore, and I haven't been. And I've been on this path of recovery now for a bunch of months. I'm doing well, and it's the hardest thing ever, to have to look at yourself and realize that that's what it is, and that's what you've done, and that's who you are. And so that's that. But thanks for listening, and
jump cut.
I appreciate you all. Thanks.
Well, Interesting. I guess this is a pretty good example and moment to talk about cancel culture. Because I have a feeling the internet's going to run with this one. I have a feeling the internet's suddenly going to bring up the fact that, you know what? He's done his penance. He's come forward. He's admitted he has a problem. He loves the sex, just adores the sex so much, and then being on the road and just having these very large female fan base, meetups. They were craving the sex as well, and it's up to women to decide whether or not people have sex according to his own tenets, and so they were choosing to have sex. So really, he was the ultimate victim in all this, and I think the manosphere is going to take this too and say, like, why are we vilifying someone for just loving sex and having sex with lots of people? Like, is this truly a problem? And to that I say balderdash, malarkey, fumblesmuff, or other weird words they used to say back in the day before we knew true insults. Because sex is a many splendid thing, and sex positivity is really important, right? Like, there's so much vilification these days of sex workers and people who should otherwise be celebrated in many ways, and we ultimately should be talking about all forms and variations of sex in a positive light. Teach children about consent, for example, all the good things, and also even bring up the fact that some people aren't interested in sex at all. There's asexual people, and that's completely normal and valid. Like, none of this stuff should be seen as anything other than the varieties of life, all the wonderful things. And yet people like this, motherfuckers like this, who have suddenly turned this into a debate about sex and sexuality, are the ones that poison the well, are the ones that make it really fucked up to be able to talk about sex in a positive light. Because if people like this are going to take movements, especially movements related to sexuality, and make it about, well, at the end of the day, I crave sex so much and I couldn't control my cravings, I'm an addict, I have a problem, I'm getting therapy, I'm going to seek help. Well, at the same time, you were a pedophile who had been contacting a whole bunch of teenagers who were in high school. This isn't about like normal sex between consenting adults. This is about you being a huge ass pedo. I mean, we could get into the whole problem of you abusing your power relationship with your fans. That's its own thing. But I think the fact that you are again accused of being a pedophile for contacting young high school girls based on their pictures, even ones who weren't fans of you gross fuck, like just reaching out to them on Instagram being like, hey, how's it going, baby? I'm famous. Like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, gross. Like, none of this is right. So no, you don't get to make this about you. You don't get to make this about how you are basically talking about the confessional male sexuality, like, fuck all that noise. All right. That's not the conversation that people should be having from here on out. And also, like, fuck Chris. That's basically all I can say. Denies allegations of sexually harassing teenagers. Okay, my mistake. It's accused. Some were as young as 16 at the time of the alleged encounters. Many women accused him of sending inappropriate messages to them. Well, the thing is, like, there's all these screenshots. He wasn't even denying them. Like, even in his own confessional, he was like, oh, you've seen all the text. There's way more. There's so much more. There's so much more that you haven't said, Or don't fuck Chris. Yeah, please.
If you want us to advertise your channel or work, please go to weareserfs.com and email us a 20 to 30 second ad, and we'll take it on to the end of one of our videos to help promote your leftist channel or progressive something. Whatever you do.
To our gods, on Raph, Xander Corvus, Schlatsky, we look to the stars for your divine guidance. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are merely puppets for your amusement. To our lords, Trevor R., Alexander Thaler, Hans Josephine, Ryan Lubin, Jimothy K. Meeblebeeps Jr., Bisexual Black Gamer, and Tofox, we shall carry your banner into the fog of war. To our Knights of the Round Table, Josh Mickelson, Zach Christensen, Todd Buckingham, Todd Lajeunesse, Political Puppy, Jimmy Bignuts, Andreas Chiringuito, Yoppie, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Thomas Barrington, J. Fraser Cartwright, Goofalankius, Melissa Murphy, Nicholas Marks, Radical Maniac, The Great Pudini, Kale Kotka, Anthropophagic, Serene 42, Chronic de Hemphog, Phone Jenny, Incosin, Constance Joyce Lacheris, and Ramon Acosta. We drink with you and we salute you.